Good morning, and we are live. We are starting 10 minutes late today. I do apologize for that, but I was chasing down some facts on a very important story, and I wanted to make sure that I had my facts absolutely straight for this. So let's jump into it. Let's get to work. Good morning, everybody. We have an incredibly troubling, angering story for you this morning. This is Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, father, businessman, lived in the country for 35 years. Near completed is his legal path to become a U.S. citizen. Did everything right. No criminal history, successful, has a nice house in a nice neighborhood in Houston, built a business, employs people, a driver of our economy. And he is dead. He is dead because he crossed paths with some ice animals that weren't even looking for him. ICE agents were out with one of their self-written, made-up warrants, not a judicial warrant. It's one of the warrants they write themselves. And they were supposedly tipped off by law enforcement, but HPD says, not us, not us. Which they would have had to have been tipped off by HPD to be where they were. They were in a Houston neighborhood, well within the confines of Houston. Couldn't find who they were looking for. They saw Lorenzo Salgado Araujo drive by in a van. Thought, okay, hey, we can't find who we're looking for. Mexican in a van, obvious construction. Let's go after him. I'm sure we'll get somebody, get our bonus, you know. And they killed him. They murdered him. They murdered him. Of course, they lied about it. They lied about it. They again went with that old tired story that they always come up with. He tried to ram us with his vehicle. The same thing they said about Renee Good. And we've seen over and over and over again where they've used that pitiful ass excuse every time they draw a weapon and fire at somebody. He tried to ram us. Well, in this day and age, that doesn't hold up. Those kind of lies don't hold up. And this lie is folding like a house of cards. Why doesn't it hold up? Because there are cameras fucking everywhere. Everywhere. And their story is crumbling. Of course, they magically were not wearing body cams, even though they were ordered to do so by Congress. Democrats are hot on this, and of course, the acting head of ICE is saying, "Oh well, you did that. You held up the funding, and we couldn't get it." Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Even if you tried, they had enough funding to buy a dozen body cams for every ICE agent out there. But even if you tried to make that excuse that it was the debate over the budget that held up your funding, that's a fucking lie, because the Democrats put on the table, buy uniforms, buy body cams. We'll pass that today, immediately. If you will just tell us you're going to buy body cams for everybody, you're going to buy uniforms for everybody, we'll pass that funding. We will, you can write that out. We'll pass that immediately. That's why Republicans look like such jackasses in that funding fight, because everything you would want, which is ICE agents with body cameras on, so when they murder somebody on the street, and this just enrages me so much. I have worked in construction, folks. I have. That is a business that involves a lot of cash. There are a lot of people that you hire for the day, and you pay them cash. That's going to be important. You need to, there is a lot of cash transaction that happens in construction. We're going to get to that in just a second. But yeah, the witnesses, not just the migrants. This is a story that says the migrants in the van said, we didn't freaking ram. The ones that were riding in the van said, we didn't ram anybody. That's a lie. That's a lie. Well, other witnesses are starting to come forward. We're starting to get video. We're starting to, get images of the van, which obviously did not ram anything. And that is an FBI photographer. This is going to come out. But yeah, more and more video footage is coming out. You've got LULAC, League of United Latin American Citizens, are hot on this. They are big in Houston. They are big in San Antonio. Those people have clout. When they put it out into the community, hey, we need to see your video from your Ring doorbell. We need to see your video. If you were anywhere in the area, that video is being sucked up and disseminated. We're getting more and more of it. This is from one of the local news stations in Houston.
Magnolia Park, the white van driven by Solgado and the unmarked ICE vehicle ended up right about here, just east of Wayside Drive. But before that, video shows ICE pursued it heading eastbound towards this intersection nearly a block away. Now, if you look closely through the trees, you can see the white van followed by the ICE agents in a dark SUV. You could see it coming across the screen. Blocking traffic, crossing traffic, blocks the view for the moment. Then you can see the ICE vehicle appears to try to cut the van off, and both vehicles veer off to the side of the road. The white van then goes in reverse, then forward where it pulled over a few houses away. Meanwhile, the ICE vehicle makes a three-point turn on Canal Street and then drives forward to follow the white construction van. Now, again, we're going to slow things down for you. Here's the slowdown version of the moment. The ICE vehicle driving on the passenger side of the van appears to cut the van off. Again, this is just one more angle, and congressional leaders as well as LULAC today are encouraging anyone with additional video to reach out.
Couple things that are important about that video. That was an unmarked ICE vehicle. There were no strobes on that vehicle. There was no cherry. There was no, the red light they put on the dash, the chair. There's no cherry. You can see nothing on that vehicle identifying it as law enforcement. Nothing. No, I would not fucking stop for you. No, just because you tried to cut me off. This is where it becomes pertinent that there is a lot of cash that There's a lot of mafia type behavior surrounding construction. There is, because there is a lot of untraceable cash in that industry. No, they're not just going to pull over because you try to cut them off. That's not going to happen. And clearly, you can see he is not speeding. He is not fleeing. Even after that vehicle tried to cut him off, he does not floor it and haul ass. That video is clear. He was calm in his demeanor. And we have another video that's a little more troubling, so please. Please bear with me here. Like I said, there's more and more video. There are cell phones everywhere. There are ring cams everywhere. I want you to look at the side of the van. The side of the van. It is obvious that those ICE agents rammed that van.
Oh,
shit. I want you to look just behind the driver's side door. I want you to look. You can see there's damage on the side of the van. You can tell this was not them ramming that vehicle. Oh, shit. This is a man who'd lived in this country for 35 years with no criminal history, had a business, a nice home, had everything to live for, has shown no behavior that you could point to say this is somebody that would have impulse control problems. No. They fucking lied. They fucking murdered that guy on the street. He was shot through the side. Not dead on. From the side, he was shot. And these motherfuckers will not be held accountable. I just want to prepare you for that right now. This administration is going to cover for these motherfuckers. They are going to do anything and everything. They're already lying about things. They are already lying about things. But these motherfuckers will not be held accountable. They will not. This administration wants these people murdered. Stephen Miller wants people like Lorenzo Solgado Araujo out of this country, even though Lorenzo has contributed more to this country than Stephen Miller ever will in a dozen fucking lifetimes. No body cams, bullshit story falling apart. And this administration will do anything and everything to protect these fucking murderers, because that is who they are. If you haven't figured out, the theme for today's show is no bullshit, no screwing around. We must turn out in the midterms in historic fucking levels. They are murdering people on the street and then blocking any attempts to hold the murderers accountable. They are 100% part and parcel to this murder. Then, as that was happening, Trump fires the last commissioners that were on the Federal Election Commission. He's attempting to create chaos in the upcoming election. I want to get ahead of this. There will be people. Yes, he can try to gum up the works. Yes, he can try to create smoke and mirrors, but I'm going to say this for people again so that they understand. The federal government does not run elections. The federal government does not run elections. Blue states will run elections in blue states. Red states will be run by Republicans. And if Republicans choose to not participate, they lose. Donald Trump does not run our elections. I'm just going to say it over and over and over again. There is no mechanism within the FEC. All they can do is sue and try to muddy up the waters. What is the antidote for that? You are the antidote for that. When you turn out in overwhelming historic numbers, they cannot lie. I will say this again. I've always preached nonviolence, but this is just historical fact. There is one reason and one reason only that democracy exists, and that is so that we do not have to kill each other to enact change. That's it. Is this president flirting with that? Yes. Is he stupid enough to try? Yes. Is he delusional enough to try? Yes. But he is not every Republican. And there are Republicans out there. They are not going to be unified in this. They are not. There are Republicans out there that understand this basic fucking fact that if you fuck with our democracy the way Trump is trying to overtly fuck with our democracy, everyone will burn this fucker to the ground. That will be the result. Chaos, violence, because that is all that is left when democracy leaves. We are not Germany. We are not Italy. We are nowhere in those same situations. We are not fainting daisies. I am the person that preaches nonviolence, and the reason I preach nonviolence is democracy. Fuck with democracy at your own peril. Because if Trump does manage to fuck our democracy over, if Republicans roll and they allow this to happen, I will not live in Russia. I will stop preaching nonviolence. And I will start reminding people that there are only so many rail systems in this country, that it's pretty easy to damage overpasses on major highways, that there are only so many oil pipelines in this country, just for no particular reason. Yeah. That the Chinese have proven with a small caliber weapon, you can take out power substations. fuck with democracy at your peril. It's that simple. This is Robert Fico. We've talked about him as Prime Minister of Slovakia. We did a story on him when there was an attempted assassination. When there was an assassination attempt on him. He was shot multiple times by I think the guy was like 78 years old, if I remember right. Some deluded guy shot him multiple times. I'm just reminding you who Robert Fico is. He met with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, flew back to Europe, and immediately called a meeting with everyone in the EU and said, we've got a problem. This motherfucker is out of his mind. And I don't mean he's out of his mind and has stupid policy ideas. I mean, he's out of his fucking mind. And the American media didn't cover it. The American media did not cover it. The American media didn't cover when I showed you at the last NATO summit that Macron was assigned to him, and Macron walked around like his doddering old grandpa. And they had to make up lies after it, excuses after it. Georgia Maloney she wanted a picture with me so bad. Georgia Maloney said, the fuck I did. Nothing in our media. Nothing. They carry this demented, crazy old fuck continuously. But wait, there's more. There's more. This is Liz Oyer. If you don't follow her, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I don't. I've told you multiple times to follow her. She goes under Lawyer Oyer. She is fucking incredible, and she's trying desperately to ring the bells to get people's attention to a power grab that has happened. This has already happened, folks. And there is, again, zero media coverage of this. None. This has already happened. Let me let Liz tell you.
Hey, everybody. I stumbled upon a bombshell while I was doing some research on Todd Blanche. I don't think it's been reported anywhere else, so let me break it to you. I'm Liz Oyer, the former pardon attorney for the Department of Justice. 6 weeks ago, the Justice Department quietly adopted a new policy that gives the Attorney General the power to send any federal prisoner to any prison in the country. If you are facing a federal prison sentence, Todd Blanche has total discretion to decide where you'll serve your time. This is a huge deal.
Yeah, it is a huge deal. It is a huge deal. She goes on to explain the very obvious fact that Todd Blanche, there is no oversight for him, by the way, on this. There's no one that can contradict him. There's no one that can that can hold him accountable for any abuse of this authority. The federal prison system has already ceded to Todd Blanche, who is not the Attorney General, he's the acting Attorney General. They have ceded to Todd Blanche the authority that if you're, say, at a protest and you are arrested and charged federally, say you're at a protest at a government building, and you are arrested and charged federally, they can put you in a supermax. You've seen crazy ass delusional Trump make accusations to try to, you've seen him abuse the Justice Department already. I told you that the judicial system is holding in pockets, and it will not hold forever. You've seen those abuses be rebuffed so far. Adam Schiff, he went after one of the governors, one of the members of the board of governors at the Federal Reserve. Talked about Bill Pulte and his bullshit tenure, where they were using mortgage documents to try to gin up bullshit cases. We've talked about it here on the show. We've done entire segments on it. Now, if they want you to do something in Maxwell, no one can question. If you're, I don't know, one of the January 6th, the dozens of January 6th defendants that were pardoned by Trump that are now in the federal prison system because they keep getting arrested for raping kids. Yeah, Todd Blanche can send you to a minimum security work camp. And nobody can question. Nobody has any authority to countermand him. Meanwhile, ICE is murdering people on the streets. And this administration is doing everything to protect those people. Renee Good's murderer, we've never, nothing has ever happened to the murderers of Alex Preddy. They are murdering on the fucking street. They are rigging up the prison system so that they can disappear people. They're trying to fuck our elections. And there's only one answer. Only one. And that is no more stupid shit. Everyone must turn out. Everyone must turn out. You have to turn out in such overwhelming numbers. There is no question. There can be no question. You have to put on the jersey. You have to. Jordan, got your package, by the way. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Meanwhile, these people are living the freaking high life in their own delusional fucking world. Todd Blanche, the same guy we're talking about now, has all of this massive authority. He's taking joyrides on NASA jets. Don't take my word for it. He tells you he's doing it. Why the Attorney General is taking joyrides on NASA jets, nobody can tell you. But it's so far from the top of fucking crazy on this crazy fucking mountain that is the Republican Party that it's not really that biggest. That happened. Well, that happened back there in the 250 thing, and nobody's talking about that anymore. Trump is running around telling anybody that'll listen that Iran is engaged in a murder plot to kill him, an assassination plot to kill him. Yeah, that came out of Israel. That came out of Israel. Forgive me for gulping into the mic. This coffee is so damn good. Let me tell you. Jordan, I got it, brother. I got your package, man. I did. I'll talk about this later. This is something, man. This is something. Bourbon pecan torte. Woo! That's what I'm rocking in my cup today. Bourbon pecan torte. I'm telling you. Yeah, this whole they're trying to assassinate me thing is coming out of Israel. Do you believe it? I don't. I don't. And it gets even crazier. It gets even crazier. One second. I should have had this for you already, but I was trying to get my facts straight on the Solgado Araujo story. I want to pull an image up for you. Just be patient with me for about 30 seconds. One second. This is laughable. I've got to find this. I've got to find this. Should have had it already. I apologize. There it is. There it is. This is laughable. This is cartoonishly so much fucking bullshit. Now, I know that when I'm going to assassinate somebody, what I like to do is I like to create like a big 5-story banner and drape it over the roof of my house to let them know that's what I'm going to do. Because that is literally the story that's being pushed right now. Is that they're trying to get you to believe that Iran, the same country that has so, whether you like Iran or not, you've got to admit it is superbly handled this situation. They have negotiated. Their intelligence has handled this negotiation impeccably. What they want you to believe is that these same people want to assassinate Donald Trump, according to the Israelis. And then before they did it, they hung a big banner over the side of a hotel. Not a government building, a hotel. In English, mind you. That says, "We will kill Trump." That's the perfect reaction right there. It's laughable. It is laughable to try to say that the Iranians, this is proof of a plot. This is bullshit. This is a couple of fucking Mossad agents on the roof of a fucking hotel is what that is. That's the stupidest shit I have ever seen. In English. English is not one of the recognized languages in Iran. It is not. They speak Farsi. It lets you know who the target was for that banner. And I know, I mean, don't you? Don't you? Before you, I mean, I know my assassination plots. That's what I like to do. I do. I like to take and I like to hang banners prominently off of hotels, warning the people that I'm coming to assassinate, that yes, I'm on my way. Actually, when I do it, I like to put a date and time on my banner written in the language of the person that I'm, that's what I like to do. This is the dumbest shit ever. The dumbest shit ever. And I guarantee you, your drunk uncle and Cletus, they're on their knees guzzling this up, man. As fast as they can. Because every time this man is completely going down the shitter, there's an assassination attempt now, isn't there? This is getting old and getting tired, but I have to tell you, I put a video out where I reached out to people. I was not angry. I was not, not ever, and I'm going to be honest with you, some of the dumbest responses from people. I talked a little bit about clueless people in the last video. With all of this going on, I just want to retouch on this. I just want to retouch on this. Some of the dumbest responses I got were, oh, the Democratic establishment party is going to pick the candidate in Maine. That's a normal. That's what you'd expect. They did that to Bernie. Fucking morons. I voted for Bernie. There was no party in the booth with me when I voted for Bernie. There was nobody trying to hold my arm back to keep me from voting for Bernie. Fucking morons. Well, they wouldn't allow his electors on the floor. Yeah, no shit. He lost. They don't do that. The winners' electors are the ones that you fucking morons. But they full-throatedly on social media, oh, let me tell you about the conspiracy theory, and they're going to do it in Maine. Meanwhile, the rest of us have to live in this reality. Maine, because I happen to know the deadlines, Maine has not 18 days, they have 17 days to put together some system. Now, primarily normally takes a legion of professionals 6 months. You know, these primaries that you're just now privileged to vote in? Yeah, the party professionals have worked for 6 months to put those together. Maine has 17 days. That's it. That's it. That's all. It's what the law dictates. So, you fucking moron that is out there talking about they're just going to pick the AIPAC is going to pick the candidate. Let me correct you a little bit there, fuckwit. They have 18 days to come up with some system that allows the people in Maine to choose this candidate. One thing I can guarantee you is that it will not be another fucking primary. They do not have the time to make that happen. Because Graham Plattner drug this out literally to the last fucking day. That son of a bitch is literally, he could resign yesterday. He could resign the day before. He is waiting to the fucking deadline on Monday to file his withdrawal paperwork. The last fucking day. And yet we have the dumbest among us that are, I told you, the establishment Democrats are just taking it from us, and you don't fucking live in Maine, you asshole. So I am done being nice over this. I am done being nice over this. I'm sorry, honey. I know you asked me to. I tried. I put out a very friendly, very inclusive video, and this is the stupid shit I got back. Meanwhile, Trump's firing the heads of the FEC. Meanwhile, ICE is fucking murdering people on the streets. Meanwhile, Todd Blanche is taking unprecedented power unto himself, unchecked power unto himself. And I got to listen to you who don't know how all three branches of government fucking work, much less election deadlines, much less what it takes to put on an election. All I got to do is AIPAC. I said the word AIPAC. I win. Fuck you. The rest of us have to live in reality. AIPAC isn't a trump card that you get to fucking say every time you say stupid shit out of your fucking pie hole. The rest of us have to live in fucking reality. 17 fucking days for Maine to pull this off, and I'm going to help them do it every way I can. I'm going to get every one of you to help them. Anything that you can do. As they call out for assistance, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let you know. We're going to do everything we can to help the people of Maine get the representation they want. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to say it one more time. Fuck you, stupid motherfuckers that pretend to be on our side and don't know how a goddamn thing works. Because while people are being stupid, this is happening. This is happening. And you know what? I just need to pause for a minute. I do. Hold on. I'll come back to that. When I tell you I appreciate you, when I tell you that you are not the same, that you understand things, that it recharges my batteries, that it's a breath of fresh air, that when I get to talk with you people and you understand events that are happening, you're aware of events that are happening, you understand complex situations, you understand, I swear to God, because I'm looking at these people over here, and I can't get them to understand this one small little fact. At the end of August, there are 14 primaries in August. Yes, there are 4 more in September, but August is the last big lump. And I explain to people every election cycle, August is the starting block. It goes out in earnest. It goes out in full force. You see it. It's when you can't turn your TV on without a political ad being on. The signs go out on everybody's yards. The press starts shilling for Republicans full-time 24 hours a day. You've seen it. You know what I'm talking about because you get it. I tried to explain to these people, look, I just called bullshit on the Israelis feeding Trump information about a bullshit assassination. Hey, dumb fuck, we're on the same side. I'm just trying to get you to understand that from August to November, we need to get Democrats as excited as possible. We need to get everybody motivated to show up to the polls no matter what. We need people excited about voting. We need people fired up, fired up, fired up. Are you fired up? Are you fired up? Are you ready to vote? Are you ready to? I'm ready to crawl through burning AIDS infected fucking broken glass to vote. Are you? Cool. Because dumb fuck responded to my outreach explaining from August to November, bandwagon effect, get everybody motivated with, well, but the fucking Democrats are taking it from us with AIPAC. On behalf of my children and my grandchildren and their children to come, fuck you all. Fuck every one of you dumb motherfuckers. I need you people. I mean it. I need you people to go out there. I need you people to shut this shit down. I need you to. I do. I need you to. Because real things are happening, folks. We're talking about real things. They're really murdering people in the street. They're really taking over the prison system. They're really trying to fuck the FEC to interfere with elections. And there happens to be a war going on at the same time. The Iranians have started to reach out to other countries in the region. They have started to question Trump's sanity and the ability to make any kind of deal. So they are reaching out to other countries in the region to explain to them, look, you people need to get involved in this process, or this is just going to drag on forever. Iran is trying right now. This is what they're doing today. As you and I speak, Iran is engaging with its neighbors. I'm talking about Qatar. I'm talking about the UAE. I'm talking about Bahrain. I'm talking about Kuwait. I'm talking about Saudi Arabia. I'm talking about Syria. I'm talking about Pakistan. I'm talking about, they're reaching out to anybody that'll take the goddamn phone call. And they're saying, look, this ain't working. This ain't working. These people are nuts. They're run by somebody who is nuts, who's more worried about how this shit's going to play on Fox News than the reality of the situation on the ground. They're making shit up as they go. They're claiming things that are not true. For example, this. Despite the U.S. insisting Iran is not in control of the Strait of Hormuz, shipping intelligence groups and tracking data indicate commercial traffic through the vital waterway is still much lower than before the war, and analysts says that's not likely to remain the case until a wider peace deal is reached. That's the folks in the industry. Shipping and oil are all saying the same thing. But you don't need to take their word for it. You can go to ShipFinder and take a look at what's going on. Now, I want you to look right here. This is the Gulf of Mexico. Notice I didn't say Gulf of America. It is the Gulf of Mexico. Look at that. All that red right there. Those are oil tankers. Orange are bulk carriers. Blue are cargo vessels. What does this map show us? Well, if you look at everywhere like Venezuela, this area down here that produces oil, loaded with red, flowing in lines. It looks like ants, doesn't it? Like when you see ants that are going, doesn't it? What else? Where else do you see it? Well, look, you see a line of it coming out of Russia, which, by the way, I know this looks like, hey, wait a minute, why is Russia? They're supposed to be not selling. Well, yeah, they're still selling oil, but normally this would look like a red snake, just a solid red snake, right? Okay, well then let's zoom in and let's go to the Red Sea. Why are we going to the Red Sea? Because there's a pipeline coming out of Saudi Arabia. Oh, look, there's a cluster around Jeddah, and it's heading right out the Suez Canal, where there's a cluster coming in and out on both sides. There are a cluster of tankers on both sides of the Suez Canal, where they are shipping oil all over the place, right? Then, right here, you see where it says Abu Dhabi right here. This edge of Oman, there is an oil pipeline that cuts through and comes out. There's an oil terminal right here off the coast of Oman. That will what's there? Oh wow, look at that cluster of tankers just filling up with oil in Oman. Just filling up with oil. And where are they going? Again, they look like ants. They're going to India, predominantly to India is where they're going. Why not China? You go over here to China, there just aren't that many, not as many anyways. China uses a lot of oil. Yeah, well, China has a pipeline. We talked about this in a previous show. Runs north of India all the way over to Uzbekistan. There's a pipeline in northern China where they get most of their oil from. They don't, the majority of the oil they get from Iran, there's no pipeline for. They have to ship that out in ships. But what do you see in the Persian Gulf? I see a lot of green ships, lime green. That's like tugboats and service vessels and pleasure craft. I see a lot of orange ships. Those are bulk carriers. Think grain, think ore, rocks, think fertilizer, shit like that. I'm seeing some orange ships in there, but mostly service vessels. Not a lot of tanker traffic. Definitely not a lot flowing through the Strait of Hormuz. Looks like they're all still bottled up in the Gulf, doesn't it? I mean, are your lying eyes telling you the same thing that my eyes are telling me, that there are not the tankers that left the Gulf aren't returning to the Gulf, and there just aren't that many tankers in the Gulf compared to everywhere else in the world? Huh. Damn my lying eyes. And I will tell you something else. When I was looking at this that has really struck me, we talked about this before. Let's move over here. Let me let this populate in. This is that we talked about that. We've talked about when they were slow steaming ships, when they weren't running at full speed. They were doing that when the economy was sluggish due to the tariffs and all the other stupidity. Well, it's still going on. 16 knots. That's a container ship. Those container ships can run well over 20 knots. They usually cruise at between 20 and 25 knots. What do we got here? 19 knots, 16 knots, 12 knots, 16 knots, 17 knots, 16 knots. Nobody is running flat out. Nobody is hauling ass like you see when the economy is taking off. 14 knots, 18 knots, 14 knots, 18 knots. All of these container vessels are running at 2/3 speed. Why? We talked about that in a previous show. What, 8 knots, running at 8 knots. Why? 16 knots. Why would they do that? Why do they do that? Well, if it takes longer for your goods to get from China to where it's going, you don't have huge inventory backups. They don't show on the books because remember, just like oil, when it's on the ship, it don't count. Everybody accounts for their goods that way. They look at factory output and then they look at warehouse inventories. There's a no man's land in between there, and that is the ships. And if your economy is sucking, that means you've got to save costs. So shippers slow their ships down to, one, save costs. It's just like you. When you take your foot out of the gas on your car and you do 65 on the freeway instead of 85, you get better gas mileage. Ships work the same way. They have to do that because they've got to maximize profits. Because the other end of it is they've got to slow down those goods. If they don't slow down those goods, you get a huge glut, a huge backlog. Then you start incurring storage fees, and that's when everything goes on clearances because they can't sell shit, and they have to admit that they cannot sell shit. And that is the last thing that Wall Street wants is reality. And if you think I'm kidding, I want you to look at this. This is how far out of fucking reality that Wall Street is. So you cannot look to the banks or anybody to be open with you about this crisis as it unfolds. I want you to take a look at these headlines. IMF warns of sharp slowdown in global economy. This is 1 day ago. Global economy hit by Iran war and inflation faces sharp slowdown 2 days ago. Third one is from the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal. The Journal of Wall Street. IMF drops recession warning in wake of June ceasefire. What fucking ceasefire? Trump said that's over. They wrote this yesterday. Let's go back to some of the other headlines. IMF from Crypto Briefing, IMF warns of sharp slowdown in global economy. Every fucking article is telling you what the IMF is actually saying. And the IMF is saying, yeah, no bueno. This is a problem. Everything I've been telling you about energy prices and what it's going to do to the economy, I didn't pull that shit out of my ass. The IMF is saying it. Several weeks ago, they said when there was, remember we did the show where they were in Switzerland and the lake and, you remember all that? Well, that's when the IMF said, hey, you know what? Things might not be so bad. If they can come up with a peace deal soon enough, the impact might not be as bad. So we might not have a recession. We're still going to have a slowdown, but we might not have a recession. Wall Street Journal took what they said weeks ago when everybody was still pretending like this war wasn't, out of fucking control. Wall Street Journal took that from weeks ago and printed it yesterday as though that's reality. IMF says, all good. Peace, baby. Peace. Yeah. It's just, they're just making it up. Wall Street is just making it up as they go. There's nothing, it's not grounded in earnings. It's not grounded in profitability. It's not grounded in what the economy is actually doing. They're just making it up. And that will catch you. That will catch you. And before the stupids come out and say, well, what are the Democrats doing about the Democrats are on the Todd Blanche thing. They are. They're on it. They're using every bit of power they have to force investigations into their committees over this Todd Blanche thing. They're doing what they can do, what little power they have when they don't control any of the three branches of government. The Democrats are doing what they can do. They know. And they're telling you the media will not take those. Normally, if a Republican, farts, the media will say, Republicans do their best to, combat global warming, with farts. I mean, it's just insane how our media works now. But, the Democrats are saying, hey, we're holding an investigation in this because it seems relatively important that we have one person in government that is just engaged in an unprecedented power grab with no oversight, and the media will not follow it. It is literally Liz Oyer screaming into the void that is social media. Pay attention to this. This is important. And old Texas Paul sitting out in the woods out in East Texas saying, hey, pay attention. This is important. Liz has got something here that's important. You should pay attention. Getting behind on the comments. I want to catch up on the comments. Stick with me, folks. Stick with me. Rich, thank you for gifting the memberships. Thank you for always being so generous. Tiny Dog Dragon, thank you for gifting the memberships. Thank you. I'm truly grateful. Agent Cajun John, thank you for gifting the memberships, brother. Diamond Garage, hey, Paul, here with you as always. This latest incident is tragic and raging and shows ICE needs to be abolished and the POS agents jailed for murder. The worst of us are destroying one of the best of us. Yep. Well said, sir. Chandra Patton, it's amazing how stupid idiots think everyone else is more stupid than them. If there is a hell. Yeah, I hear you, brother. I hear you, Chandra. I hear you, ma'am. Jeremy Breeden, thank you for always supporting the show. I am truly grateful. E.T. ICE was corrupt before the Mad King, but worse now. Pat Tour, a guest on Katie Fang, said the witness and the van are now in detention camps and are part of a hurried deportation, so they can't testify. Of course. Cassie Lake, thank you. Thank you for becoming a member. Dr. Dag, morning all. ICE is Trump's personal army filled with January 6ers, Proud Boys, and other organized racists. And here's the root of the problem. 90% of my family agree with the orange a-hole. Vote Democrat. Yep, we have to turn out in overwhelming numbers. Oregon wine lady. But there are already plans afoot to claim fraud and gum up the works long enough to avoid seating a new Congress. Vote in numbers too big to fail. It doesn't matter what they claim if you show up to the polls. JDJ 1898 Jade. Vote right or die. That is the only way to stop this. Amen. Amen, JD. Brad Michael, there was a group to oversee state elections. Trump just fired the last of them. Midterms are in danger. Trump did not fire anybody overseeing your state elections. That is not what happened. He fired the Federal Elections Commission. The Federal Elections Commission does not run your state elections. Crafty Ash Gardner, thank you for being here. Thank you for being so generous and gifting the memberships. E.T., last night I was at a town hall for Florida, 7 candidates with 3 Repugs, 1 liberal, 1 Dem. Mary Alana Kinter, the R's and the L followed same script. Kinter shined. I believe it. That's the way it works on the Republican Party. Cassie Lake, we're living next door to a meth house with no fence. Oh, Canada, we need to stand on guard for thee. It's that real. Shit be crazy here. It does. Mike Daly, the Dim. Hey, brother, my lifelong Republican mother-in-law is pissed about the antics of Republicans around Trump and McConnell. This is MAGA versus US versus us, and I'm with you. Glad to hear it. I'm telling you, if enough Republicans wake up, we can do something about this. Richard, why do I the CIA had a hand in this as well? Why do you think the CIA had a hand in this as well? I don't trust this government. I don't trust this government. Jerry Ring, I'm a North Carolina Mason giving an education on independence this month. We can't talk politics, but we talk about government, country, and character of a person. We aren't supposed to support bigotry of any type. Anything you'd say about these times? The more people that we have educating and speaking out, the better off we will be. E.T., beware of blue bots. People get involved and active. Amen. Amen. Ollie, thanks, Texas Paul, for the cussing jar. Ride or die. Skeets here. It is not being reported even here, but the lynching of people that don't look like Trump have exploded. Let us get rid of the racists. Amen. Amen. Catherine Ryan, breathe, Paul, breathe. We will pick a qualified Democratic candidate, and we need to vote blue. I do apologize for letting my temper get the best of me. I do apologize for that. I'm sorry. ET, messaging people affordability instead of culture wars, Citizens United instead of APAC. Are you ready to get involved? When we do the work, it gets done. Amen, brother. Amen. Skeet Sayer, on both sides, they're complicit to a conflict that has one group actively trying to end the lives of children. For 100 years, U.S. President tried to bring health care for all, and every time helping blacks is bad. Glenn Kaneko for the cussing jar. Thank you. Sean Salisbury, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the show. I'm truly grateful. Oregon Valley Girl, these cowards should never be comfortable again. Thanks all. Appreciate your fire. I appreciate you being here. I do. Donna, good to see you. Truth, Texas Paul, thanks for the cussing jar. I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here. Kyra, I worry about your blood pressure. Texas Paul, sending you some Zen. I'm fine. My blood pressure is fine. It is fine. Hold on. I got somebody contact me. Steve Pift. We don't want discouraged Maine progressives to choose the couch as black butt hurt Texans may choose the couch this November. That's not going to happen. There's a few people that are trying to start the fire behind Tallarico. There are Republicans pretending to be black people. Before this is over, there will be one of those dumb sons of bitches that forgets to log into their burner account where they pretend to be an outraged black person at the mistreatment of Jasmine Crockett. You're going to see it happen. You will see it happen before this is over. One of them will forget some white Republican, middle-aged white Republican lawmaker here in Texas will forget to log into their burner account and pretend to be an offended black person. You just wait for it. Deborah Emery, if we can't be ride or die, we are screwed. Be ride or die. Vote blue across the ballot. Amen. Amen. Axel Sundling, thank you for supporting the show. I'm truly grateful. David Cantu, popping the big one for some trolls ain't worth it, Texas. But we need you. Think about Brando's demeanor. I love Brando. He is the most laid back guy. He really is. Skeet Sayer, the truth about what is going on is infuriating. As we complain, the right wing is trying to create a new reality, the world that Reagan created indeed. Yep. Well said. Glenn Kaneko, thank you for gifting the membership, Glenn. Appreciate you being so generous. Skeet Sayer. I have a theory of on the Freedom gas stations. It is what they're doing with the oil they have seized. That was AI, man. That was AI. Dropped off my ballot this week and signed up to be a poll worker in November. Yeah, if you don't know, the right wingers were posting on social media about Freedom gas stations and how it was going to make things cheaper, and that Trump had essentially, the people that scream communist all the time were essentially, without saying it, were saying that Trump was nationalizing oil somehow and creating Freedom gas stations. It was all AI. It was all made up AI shit, but they believed it, man. They believed, and again, just shows you what windsocks they are. Hate that communism, but this is total communism. Yeah, but it's Trump. Trump did it, so it ain't communism. Love it. You know, these people are just dumb. ET, check out Mr. Global for more information, insight into all of this. Good source. Good source. Matt Randolph is a great source of information. He is. Skeets there. Attacking Iran was the idiot's Waterloo. U.S. has no oil reserves. We're running low. We are almost out. Donna DeJoy, glad to see you here, Donna. Wall Street Journal is another Murdoch property. What do you expect? Yep. Francie Fosdick, thank you for being so generous. Thank you for gifting the memberships. ET, people, the oil shock is almost here. Real experts are saying that crude oil futures should be selling at 130 US dollars a barrel instead of over half of the current trading cost. U.S. strategic oil reserves is at a 43-year low. Yep. Amen, brother. Amen. The industry telling us. The oil industry in this, they're telling you the truth. They're telling you gas is going to be high, people. It is. We are shipping refined products overseas as fast as we can load those tankers. You know, they're telling you it's happening. Skeets here. F the corporate shills. We are the media, or better said, the free press. Amen, brother. Donna McMullen, welcome. Glad to see it. By the way, there are free memberships out there. All you have to do is make sure that you have the setting set in your settings to allow yourself to receive gifts. Not give gifts, receive gifts. It's a setting in YouTube. Google that and make sure that it's available, and you will be given a free membership if you don't have one. The system does it. Crafty Ass Gardner, she, her. What about the Tejas top election officials resigning? Abbott appointing another inexperienced lapdog. I'm worried, but I'm ready for the worst. They can throw at us. We take to the streets. What he's talking about is one of our long-term. She was a Republican. Election officials here, actually the top election official here, resigned, just quit, walked out. Said, I'm not going to be part of this. I'm out. And Abbott is putting in a sycophant. Trash. So, yeah. What can you do? Vote. Show up and vote. That's it. That's all you can do. Because the alternative, nobody wants that. Nobody wants what comes after these Republicans fucking our democracy over. But it'll happen. It will happen. It would be a shame if we got to that just because some people wouldn't vote. Stand in line. Show your ID. Get your ballot. Plug it into the machine. Democrat. Take your ballot. Put it in the other machine. Have it counted. It will be a damn shame to see what happens on the other side of it if people don't show up to vote. DTQ. I'm going to a birthday party tonight for two of the Mrs. Friends. They're either people of color or members of the LGBTQ. I don't think any of them participated in the last two elections. They claim to care, but don't take this seriously. Oh my, you've got to remedy that situation. Donna McMullen, thank you for supporting the show. I am truly grateful. ET, yeah, priced at $3.47 a gallon to push a third term for him. Yeah, I'm telling you, just wait for it. Just wait for it. Reality is not. It's going to crush this fantasy land bullshit. Peter Campbell, thank you for gifting the memberships. 2 more and we're back to work. Omniscient Sphinx. Hey, Paul, in the immortal words of the USS Wisconsin, temper, temper. If you don't know the story of that, USS, I can't remember the ship, but the USS Wisconsin was trailing it. I can't believe I can't pull it up. Put in the comments the name of the ship. It was a battleship. And a gun battery, a North Korean gun battery, thought it would be a good idea to open fire on one of our ships. And they hit one of the 5-inch gun housings and it ricocheted off, didn't do any serious damage. They turned all of those guns, those big ass 16-inch guns on that battleship, and they removed that hill. Not just the gun battery that fired on them, they removed the hill. And the Wisconsin radioed to them, temper, temper. That really happened, by the way. E.T., thank you for supporting the show. Thank you. But yeah, it never stops. It never stops with these people. Questions arise over Qatari donated Air Force One after Secret Service advised Trump to take the old plane. Yeah. When Trump flew back from his NATO summit, Secret Service was like, we cannot use this plane. You cannot get on this plane. You can't. We are in an area where we cannot guarantee your safety. And this plane does not do what that plane does. We spent $1 billion on Trump's plane that he's going to take with him when he leaves. That plane is already destined to go to Trump's library. We spent $1 billion on that plane, putting new engines in it, new carpet, all kinds of, new paint job, all that stuff that Trump's going to want to take with him and fly around in after he's forced out of office in 2028. But what it doesn't have? It doesn't have the defensive laser systems that Air Force One has. The Air Force One has systems in it that even people that pay attention, even people like me don't know about. But I do know about. There is a laser system in Air Force One. There are multiple points that if they track an inbound missile, they fire those lasers at the missile, blinding it. No, it's not some super laser weapon that blows the missile up. No, it confuses the missile. There are communication systems on Air Force One that cannot be broken. They are literally the top of the line. This new plane does not have either of those systems. It doesn't have either of those systems. There are multiple reasons why Air Force One is Air Force. And I knew when they were talking about, we're going to retrofit this and turn it into a new Air Force. I'm like, why? You would have to gut that plane down to the frame to install these defensive systems. They're like, well, we spent $1 billion on it, and what did you get? You got a plane that cannot operate as Air Force One. You just threw new engines in Trump's jet that he's taking with him. That's what you did. That's what you did. New Air Force One lacks defensive countermeasures of previous model, officials say. Yeah. So what are they doing? Because Trump wants to fly in his jet that he's taken with him that's just been retrofitted. It's nice and new. We're paying to fly that fucking plane along with Trump, so that when Trump gets into friendlier airspace, like say over Europe, or they land and he switches planes. We have new Air Force Ones that are about to drop. I mean, real Air Force Ones, purpose built for this. And we're paying to fly this plane around to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars per hour. Exactly. Epstein Force One. I just had a question forwarded to me. One of y'all were asking about Trump and Trump taking the plane. Yeah, it's already the paperwork's done. And at the end of Trump's presidency, that plane goes to his museum, to his library. And that's been done before. Other presidents have Air Force Ones that are in there. That's not what's going to happen to this plane. This is a brand spanking new, still smell the paint plane. Because his library is, again, one of these mishmashes of hide the money shell games. And they're immediately going to be handed this plane. Yeah. He's stealing this plane in broad daylight is what he's doing. And we spent $1 billion retrofitting this thing. $1 billion with a B. And you still have MAGA morons. Oh, he's not taking a paycheck. Well, I tell you what, folks, y'all don't contribute anything to support the show for the next 4 years. And at the end of it, give me a luxury airliner. What a deal. Not just a luxury airliner, one that has just been completely retrofitted and refurbished with new engines, all new equipment, modern avionics, fresh carpet, fresh paint, fresh everything. Yeah. What a deal, right? Well, look, I don't want to leave you on a bummer. I don't. I want to leave you on a high note. I do. When I say the word time crystal, what do you think? And this is a roundtable part of it. So I really want to see your responses in the chat. I do read your comments in the chat. When I say the word time crystal, what do you think? Mrs. Texas Paul responded to that question earlier this morning with a video game. I think of a video game. When I first read it, I've fallen down these rabbit holes of things. When I first read it, I said, man, that sounds like sci-fi. It does. It sounds like sci-fi. It really does. No, it's real. It's real. It's a thing. It's a thing. Back in 2012, Frank Vilchik, who's one of those guys that can have a conversation with you about physics And at the end of it, you just go, what? He's one of those next level smart guys whose brains don't work like ours. They can envision things, they can see things. And what his main job is, right now there's an issue between quantum mechanics and actual physics. Some of the math just don't math. And they're trying to figure out why, because math doesn't lie. And in 2012, he said, look, people, we got to quit denying things that we're seeing in the math. And one of the things, and this is going to blow your freaking mind, because I know it blew mine. When I say time, most people think of a measurement, invented by the Swiss, that, akin to the marking on the side of a measuring cup. It's just a measurement. No, not when you talk to a physicist. Time is real. Time is a thing. Time is another state. It's not just a chronological measurement. Time is a thing. And for the longest time, the math has been saying time has mass. There's mass to it. There has to be for the math to math. And what Wilczek did is said, look, here is something not in a solid state. When I say in a solid state, I'm talking about, think about steel and the way the atoms work in steel, and they clump together into molecules, and those molecules form together into a lattice. And the tighter that lattice is, the harder the steel is. It doesn't move. It's locked in place. Well, they proved back in 2012 that there's something called a time crystal. It is an object of mass that exists not in our state, but in time. I know, and he proved it. And everybody took a look at it, and they took a look at the math, and they said, you know what? Your math is right, but your initial supposition that these have to exist is wrong. It's wrong. And we can prove it. None of this happens in nature on its own. Time crystals don't exist in time on their own. But they can. Your math proves that they can. So in 2016, they made them. They made them. Because they started studying the math and figuring out the properties, and they found out that a time crystal, which is something that it doesn't, it's not like, don't imagine it like steel. It is a mass, it has mass. It is a thing, but it fluctuates. That mass fluctuates. It's at the most basic state that energy has. It is at the most base state. All right. Stick with me. This gets cool. This gets cool. In 2016, they started to make these things. And then when they started to make them, they realized, holy shit, we just fixed the problem with quantum computing. If you don't know anything about the quantum computers, you've heard the hoopla about them and how much more powerful they are than regular computers. Do you know computers make mistakes? They do. They make calculation errors. They do. They make errors. Computers make errors. They do. And I'm not talking garbage in, garbage out. I'm talking about they make errors. Processors make standard, but they're really, really, really rare. Quantum computers, not so much. There are factors, and I'm not going to go into it. It's deep. It is deep. There are factors that cause quantum computers to be less accurate than what you're used to thinking of as a processor. This fixes that. The oscillating, see, these time crystals oscillate at a specific frequency. Right? Anything that you have in a computer that involves time, the way it works now is there's a component in there. It's a crystal with a slice in the middle of it with another crystal wedged into it. And when current runs through it, it oscillates at a certain speed. And that's how all of your digital chronometers work, because they know exactly how fast this will oscillate at a certain, with a certain amount of power input. Bingo. Don't want to get too deep into it, but yeah. Right? This replaces this, and it is hyper accurate, because now don't misunderstand. You can't, anytime you interact with these, this isn't a perpetual motion machine, right? Because a perpetual motion machine, you would be able to get work out of. This will not do that, but they can be observed. And if you can observe them, you can understand when a change happens, when something interferes with it. So not only have they used them as a kind of RAM memory for quantum computers to fix the accuracy problems, they've also figured out that are ultra accurate timing devices. And yeah, NYU just wanted to, just because they wanted to flex their big brains, they made one of these time crystals big enough that you could actually visually see it. They use sound waves to hold up tiny little particles, so that you've seen in like scientific kind of like the lay term. And I know that the science is much more complex than this. You don't have to email and tell me that this is a Cliff's Notes version, folks. But have you ever seen in a movie where like something's invisible, but then they like throw something at it and then you can see it? Or, like mist makes it show, or, you know what I'm saying? They did that. They use sound waves to hold up tiny little particles, and then you could see the crystal in its fluctuations interacting with these particles. They physically produced one here. Freaking amazing. Ultra precise clocks, advanced sensors, because these things don't have to be powered. And if anything interacts with it, they vanish, they go away. So they're perfect for a sensor. You create one of these. Money. This is the big one. This is going to be the first one that we see. They have figured out how to create these time crystals, mass that exist in time, and form them into a barcode based on their differing frequencies. Cannot be replicated. They take that barcode, stamp it on money, and you can no longer counterfeit it. It becomes impossible to counterfeit. And it's quickly and easily scanned. So you try to pass a that's our future. You try to pass a counterfeit bill at a gas station, they will have a scanner right there and beep. Oh, nope. Fuck you. Give me a real bill. Yeah. This is incredible. Not only, over the last decade have they discovered that these things exist, because they never gave up on quantum mechanics. They just kept doing the math and doing the math and doing the math until they figured out, until they finally said, hey, we've just got to accept there's some things out there that we don't know about, and we've got to accept that they're there and go looking for them. They did that. They discovered time crystals, and now they're coming up with uses for these things that are going to be beyond revolutionary. Beyond revolutionary. This is one of those moments. It's like, it's akin to moving from analog to digital. Yeah. We can still do smart fucking things. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible? From something that exists in time, not our state, time. Incredible. 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 E.T., amen. Vote early. Mary Higgins, thank you for being here to support the show. Sharky, Oxford in the house. Good to see you. Oxford, UK in the house. Glad to see you picked up a membership. Alan Thompson, people vote, but please vote early. And yeah. E.T., it is less than 17 weeks until the general election. Verify your voter registration and deadline dates. Know your early voting dates. Get involved. You know, E.T. so graciously posts this every show. It is less than 17 weeks to the election. That's a blink. So yes, we need to focus on getting people excited about voting Democrat. We need to encourage turnout as much as we possibly can. Verify your voter registration and deadline. Amen. Republicans will cheat. They've done this before. They have law firms that focus on doing nothing but kicking people off the voter rolls. Know your early voting dates, and I'll add to that locations. Keep track of what is your local county doing for elections. Because remember, Trump doesn't run elections. He doesn't run elections. That's handled at the state and local level. What are they doing? Are you going to have enough machines so that they don't slow down voting in Democratic areas? That's another way they like to cheat. They don't put enough machines in where Democrats vote, high population areas where Democrats vote. They do not put enough machines in, and it takes time. They love to flood the ballot with amendments and bullshit so that your ballot, instead of it taking a person 45 seconds to vote, it takes a person a minute and a half to vote. So each person, not only are there not enough machines, it's taking each person twice as long. And why do they do that? Because the longer those lines get, the more people pull in and say, forget this. I got a place to be. I can't do this. They know it. It works. DTQ, I was looking for advice in the last comment. I hope I gave it to you. I hope I did. Rena Scott, it will take at least 2 years after Dems take control just to stabilize the shit show that the Orange Clown has created in this country. Vote blue. This is going to take a decade to fix. A decade. Diane Bree Garage. Hey, Paul, PSA, everyone use premium gas. I have an ethanol tester, and regular gas has 22% ethanol, which wreaks havoc on all cars. Spend a bit more will avoid in fuel system repairs later. No regulation. A lot of people cannot afford to do that. What I will tell you is make sure that you are going to a reputable gas vendor, because what he's talking about is more and more people, as these ethanol testing kits have become more widely, you can get one on Amazon, more widely available. You're seeing a lot of people, they're going out and they're testing this gas, and gas that's supposed to be 5% ethanol or 10% ethanol is 17% ethanol or 20% ethanol. And yeah, your car's not designed to run on that. It does damage your vehicle. It would damage your small engines. It'll cause your gas tank to rust. Yeah, this is a problem. This is a problem because ethanol right now is cheaper than gas. Tom Gatesford, any bets he and his girlfriend and his grifting family are going to take all the money and run? They're going to try to. Uh, I would not surprise me if we find out they steal the frickin' silverware. Big Gizmo, has anyone had a 20-minute convo with Mitch lately? Yeah. Oh, Scott Jennings did. Scott Jennings, he said he talked to Mitch. Elaine Chao, Mitch McConnell's wife, is the daughter of James Chao. James Chao is a billionaire shipping magnate. She is a billionaire heiress. She split 3 days after he went in the hospital. She ain't coming back. She released a statement. Says, "Oh, his health is not such that I have to cancel my China trip." She said she ain't coming back. And the hospital's saying, "We ain't taking him off life support until the wife tells us we can." This is really happening, folks. Elaine Chao is on a trip. This is her saying this, not me. She is on a trip for her father where she is handling some philanthropy, some charity work that her billionaire daddy is doing back in China. Folks, imagine that you and your spouse have made it to the 80s. Your 84-year-old spouse collapses in your home for an undetermined amount of time. Their heart quits beating. They have to be given CPR. EMS shows up, they're still not breathing. They are still not responsive when the ambulance gets there. They're in the hospital, in the ICU. Not only do I not hop on a plane and haul ass, I would never in my life think to make a crass ass statement like, "Oh, it's not a worry." Bullshit. I believe that man is dead. And she's staying out of the country to keep him on life support because that is who she is. And people are speculating we're going to find out Mitch is a Chinese spy. I don't think that's accurate. I think Mitch is probably controlled by a Chinese spy. Donna DeJoya, time is relative. Lunchtime is doubly so. Douglas Adams in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Oh, man, I love you folks. Tracy Willoughby, with all that is going on, buy a coffee for you and the missus. Ah, thank you. You're too generous. You are too generous. Thank you very much. Wendy Bauman, for the cussing jar, keep on cussing for me. Thank you for my number one podcast. I appreciate you being here. That's incredibly generous of you. Thank you. Mike Daly, the dim. The time crystals and all the revolutionary check are the reasons why we need to elect people of upstanding character to government. Amen. Amen. We need people that are willing to look at these things and make sure that they're serving your best interests, because that is what the government is for, to serve the people, not the corporations. Canyon Diva had a good laugh seeing Eric lose $600 million. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Yep. That happened. Eric bet $600 million of the family's money on crypto and lost. Cape Mary Light. Buy from top tier designated gas stations. Yeah, I mean, find you somebody that's reliable. That preferably a station that moves a lot of fuel. If you can't afford, that's great advice. If you can afford premium, buy premium. But if you can't, if you're like, or if you're just like me, you're too cheap to buy premium. Make sure you're buying it from a gas station that is moving a lot of fuel, that does the maintenance, that is reputable. So did she self-deport? Yeah, no shit, right? Tube Kurt, Mitch is not merely dead. He's clearly most sincerely dead. Oh, my God. Well, look, folks, that's what I've got for you today. I hope you found it useful. I hope you found it motivating. I hope you've found it focusing. I hope you've found it focusing. I really do. I really do. Um, show up. Show up. By mid to the end of August, every one of our efforts needs to be on exciting people about voting Democrat and pissing people off about Republicans and everything that they've done. Have your narratives locked in, repeat them and repeat them and repeat them and repeat them and repeat them again. Motivate people to vote Democrat. Make sure that you tell your people that are, doomers that can't do anything but say negative, the sky is falling shit, that's not what we're doing right now. We're not saying, hey, you got to give up on your AIPAC thing or you got to give up on your Israel thing or anything. Nobody's telling you that. We're just saying right now, between August and November, we are all in on electing Democrats. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing right now. Now, after November, we can go back to working on grabbing a hold of that Democratic Party and pulling it left as hard as we can. But we're at that point in the election cycle. August, the lion's share of primaries are over. There's only 4 in September. Time to focus. Time to get busy. I love you, folks. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate all the support. It's incredible. Again, I cannot do it without you. You allow me to do this full time. On that note, enjoy some Texas cities at night.